Welcome to the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel after show. We're talking about episode 6. Let's face the music and dance. And for Abe, that means finding out that his daughter is a comic and his son is in the CIA. What the heck, you guys? Such a fun episode to break down, and we're doing it right now, so don't go away.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
It was a surprise song, and it was better than I imagined.
There's something that a baby is like doing this in a little walker thing.
Esther's doing this while
in
no one
some
knows who
movie
she
or TV
is.
show.
You guys, let's face the music and dance. A very well said title considering the ending of this episode. Before we jump in, I'm Steph Sabraw. I'm joined by the lovely Amy Maestri, Briana Phipps,
Hey everybody.
and Jeff Graham.
What up?
A very short introduction
Did
for
Amy
you
just
guys.
refuse to talk?
I did.
She went to mute.
I had to make your voice match your name, so that's why I said that.
For the
That
listeners,
makes
she
sense.
made a really cute smile at you guys.
I did. You're welcome, guys.
So we're going to break this down by talking about the morning after Abe finds out his daughter is a raunchy comedian, and that breakfast scene there, and then get into how Abe thought he was getting funding, and it turns out he finds out his son's in the CIA, and then talk about Susie's return to the camp, which was epic, and get into Astrid and the mother's Rose's conversation and the Cosmos, the viewing of the Cosmos in The Last Dance. And then this time we do have our very special segment back where we're focusing on a female comedian.
We have we'll save it.
Okay,
It's a little
saving.
tease. It's a great, I'll say this, a legendary Saturday Night Live alum.
And this is where we play a clip of one of their works and kind of just brag about what we know or don't know.
Can I just say that I loved how you said the Cosmos.
It's very classy. I was like, who says that anymore? What do you guys think of this episode?
I mean, obviously, what a standout episode for Abe. Tony Shalhoub is just like insane in this. But you know what? I'm going to call out really quickly Astrid. What a great episode for her. She was delightful in this because she is a maniac and I love her.
Yeah, I agree with you with Astrid. I love the parallel that she's at this Jewish camp and she's the only one trying to do all these like Jewish traditions and no one else
And
cares.
she wasn't born Jewish,
No,
right?
that's what I'm saying. She's the only one trying when she's a goy, really.
Yeah, love. I interrupted you,
no, you're
Bree.
fine.
I was going to say, Justine Loop is great, and it's nice. She's getting a little more work from this, and it looks like she's recurring on Succession, which is on HBO right now. So I feel like you've got quite a bar to reach when you're like not in the main cast, but you're like recurring on this show, and she's keeping right up. So I want to tip my hat to Astrid as well, Amy.
Yes.
I agree because every scene she has been in, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Even the scene when she dropped Midge off last episode was funny. We didn't mention that.
With her Chinese paste.
Smelly paste.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what?
It's a very weird recurring bit.
I mean, but when women want it, like, especially in that time period, like, you're not being able to get pregnant, like, I could see you doing anything and everything because that's your purpose.
Hey, access to women's health care is still an issue. Let's just be clear.
It's a funny bit. It's just a little weird.
It
like,
is, yeah.
I will say it feels like it's almost in a different universe than this show.
Yeah,
like
but-
fertility jokes.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's
it
all-
makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And, like, women still do all this stuff to get pregnant sometimes, like,
It's
especially
true.
because
Yeah.
you can't. A lot of women can't afford like actual fertility treatment, so they're like, I'm going to take all these herbs and drink them.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
will make me get pregnant and follow my lunar cycle. And I don't know, maybe it works.
It's true. It's a good point, Brie.
It is. And no, I see what you're saying though on the flip side, Jeff. I do think it's a hard thing to tackle,
Yeah.
but they do it in a way that it is normal. Like I think it's almost good. The more that I talk about it, because there is a stigma with women who can't get pregnant, and you don't know if it's you or the man that you're sleeping with. Just to be clear, the men could be infertile too.
They should get some paste from Chinatown.
This is a little tangent, but like just going off of that because it is the man who decides the gender of the child. I'm just putting that out there because like one of my biggest pet peeves whenever I would watch stuff about like Henry VIII getting mad at his wives for not giving him a son, I was like, it's your fault.
Oh, really?
Oh, the man's
Every
seed decides.
every girl's egg is XX and the sperm is either XX or XY, which
Oh,
just says gender.
wow. You learn
Little
something every day.
Little facts for you.
Okay, let's get into this breakfast scene because this was so tension filled. The moment Abe wasn't there, and this was coming off a night where Rose didn't even know where he was, and then shows up, and like we were saying last episode, he is just a killer silent actor.
Yeah.
The way that they built up to this scene made me so happy that they didn't just kind of dive right into his reaction, that we had to wait for it. And then when we finally see him, he's just standing behind them in pure, just utter silence.
And Midge in that moment is every girl who has disappointed her father, where you're just like, Daddy, do you want to sit here?
Yeah.
Would you like a latte?
But also I love that they built it up where there was already tension by multiple people. So when he came, like, everybody assumed why he was mad, and none of it was the actual reason, obviously.
Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub is so good in this role, and like in the hands of the wrong actor, this comes off as like cruel, and something about the way, and it might just be that I like Abe, but there's still like a likable sweetness to his cold silence. You know?
Yeah, because I even thought it could go away where he just started busting out laughing and was almost like, I'm so mad that you're that funny.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think that could have been possible had she not done her whole bit kind of belittling him, but I still think it's hard to deny her talent and her humor.
Right.
It's the same thing with Joel. I think even if you don't like it, you can't say she's not funny.
Right.
But I do think he does a really good job of playing a dimensional silence.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, even going back to the first season, like, Jeff, to your point about him, just like the way that he's able to be like kind of such a dick, but then you still like him at the same time. Like when he was just being completely sexist of like, what did you do? It was your fault. And like he cheated on her.
Right.
And he's still just like, no, you got to, like that kind of mindset, which made sense for, that time period. But yeah, you like, as you're listening to him just be awful, you're just like, I don't know, I still kind of like you.
You saying that with just brought back that whole line of like Noah thinking it's because Joel's there. He's like, well, not all of us can get over what you did to my sister. And he's like, their breakup was many moons ago. Like,
He's kind of a teddy bear is what it is.
Many
you know?
moons.
Yeah.
But we can't forget the sexist conversation that they did have outside when Midge and A brought it out. Yes, it was still funny, and yes, we do have to take the times into consideration, but him being like, until I decide the time is right, your father, like, you won't tell your mom, like, you won't do all this stuff, and Midge is 27 years old, she has 2 kids.
Right.
But it is the times, and she does have even if my dad told me that, it wouldn't be like a male thing, it'd be more a respect thing.
It's also she's living with him too, so there might be the fine line of I don't want to get kicked out.
I pay your bills.
Yeah, I didn't take that so much as sexism as just like paternalism.
Yeah.
In like the father way, not like the like patriarchal way of just like, and we see that really his control issues over parenting aren't just with women, because as the episode goes on, obviously we learn that he's just a very controlling father.
And he probably, of most people in the show, I feel like has the least control over every situation that happens.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who really wants it.
Yeah.
And that's what was happening last season, though, when...
Oh, wait, sorry. Before we move on, you wanted to call out the Dirty Dancing reference.
Oh,
which
yeah.
was this exact scene.
Brie, you know it, though. There was another Dirty Dancing reference in episode 4 that you said.
I just said the whole camp was Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that conversation, though, you thought it was like a call
this one,
to...
well, they had a very similar scene in Dirty Dancing where he's talking to his daughter and kind of like talking about his disappointment in her after he finds out that she's been with Patrick Swayze's character because he's not rich and he's the help and he's beneath her. And so he's kind of disappointed in her, and they have a kind of similar shot where they're sitting on a porch and he's kind of telling her his disappointments in her. That one was a lot more because there's no comedicness in it. There's no man walking up to give them a card and getting yelled at. It's just like, your father is disappointed in you, and what are you gonna do? But
Yeah.
it was very similar.
No, I like that they had like the To Kill a Mockingbird scene, and they do it really nice because it is a retro show, so you can pull from retro things and give this nostalgic feeling. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that plays out because I think keeping Rose out of the loop is a horrible idea, but now it's on Abe,
Yeah.
not
You're right.
on her.
Yeah.
It'll still be on her a little bit.
Yeah, Rose's gonna stroke out. Who else stroked out, though, was the entire camp looking for Susie, which was one of my favorite scenes thus far.
This just also shows you the time period, because nowadays, if someone doesn't come home for one night, you're like, they're getting laid.
Yeah, that's true. I love that, like, they chose to go this route with Susie, where, like, she becomes, like, a popular, like, almost like the camp mascot. They're doing a great job of keeping Alex Borstein in the show. Because when Midge isn't working, she hasn't been working as much, you got to figure out a way to keep your regulars in. And this is, like, a good use of not only Susie, but Alex Borstein's talents as a comedian.
Totally.
Yeah. I think she may even be featured better this season than last, because we're giving her so many different things to do and getting to see her interact with like these people that are so opposite of anything she knows and just be like their mascot almost.
I like that she hates that though.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
She does.
I think she hates herself for liking it.
Yeah.
And then she hates them in return because she likes them.
That's a good way.
When
of
has
putting
she liked anything? That's the question. Besides comedy.
She likes food.
Yeah, that's true. Or food.
But it was like a Brady Bunch group of people reunion, and then her and their excitement and the via walkie-talkie, like the other side still doesn't know you arrived. Like Susie's here with us, and they're like screaming into the walkie-talkie.
Could you imagine having that kind of a welcoming?
I would live for it.
Like, here's your lentil soup and a blanket and a chair, and we love you. Oh my God, we're gonna let it. They want to hear your voice.
That's me getting home from work every day. I told Laura I wouldn't marry her unless she had lentil soup prepared for me. Every day after
I thought
work.
you meant that she just like gathered up like the community in your apartment building, was like, welcome Jeff home, guys.
That's Thursdays. Today.
And to close off Susie's section, though, her bunk bed scene was equally hilarious.
Oh, God.
For different reasons. She was just so
Savage.
Susie.
Savage is the word.
Savage.
Bree nailed it.
Oh my God. I felt like, I mean, it made sense, but it was like so mean of these people that have been so nice to you and care so much about you. And they're like, these are my dreams. None of that's going to happen.
She's
And you
the
that wants to
generation.
change your name? Stupid.
This scene
Use
actually
that.
kind of bummed me out. I will say, like, usually Susie's savageness plays well. I kind of thought there might be this subplot where Susie broadens her roster and like brings on some of these underdogs, because these are like the blue collar girls, and I like the idea that the show's like, Susie's a blue collar girl, she's gonna start fighting for the dreams of other blue collar girls, but then the show totally spit that in my face, and I was like, oh, I guess not.
Yeah. I thought it could be like Susie could be the Midge of B. Altman to them. How she like always gives the B. Altman girls advice and
Yeah, exactly.
teaches them.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it could go that way, and I think it could still go that way, except we're not going to get the Catskills anymore.
Yeah, I was like, I think this is the end of the cat.
One
Oh,
trick.
yeah. See, I like that she was a jerk to him.
Yeah, it's realistic.
But I will say on the flip side, like the girls talking to each other and being like, "This is what I'm gonna do." Oh, we better all be invited to the play. That is so girls.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we talk. Look, when you're friends with people, you talk them up so much. Oh, you're gonna be great, and you're gonna be invited to my opening night. And it's like everyone knows, like most likely, probably not everybody will have that, but you still talk them up that way.
Yeah.
I would have liked this scene if they were like rich and prissy, but like they already had the world against them because they're the help kind
Yeah.
of, and so for them to get like their dreams pooped on twice, I was like, oh, this is kind of a bummer.
Although I will say I had the same thought of Susie when the girl was like, "My father's a producer, but I'm gonna change my name so that I know I made it on my own."
Yeah,
It's like, use it.
And you know what? That line that she says, I feel like, again, credit to Alex Borstein in this, her delivery on that, it could have felt like awful.
Yeah.
But the way the line that she delivered was, what was it? Don't use that shit.
use that shit.
Yeah.
And the way that she said it, though, I'm just like, don't
Yeah.
use that shit.
Yeah,
Like,
you're right.
it could have come off
That
so
was
much.
such a good impersonation.
Thank you.
It's very good.
I need to get you one of those hats so you can do that next time.
Ah,
for a
yes.
little-
I'm doing something with my hands for people just listening. I don't
Object
know what I'm
work.
doing with my hands, but it's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it made it much lighter, and it had to end on that funny tone, even though it was a really harsh line.
It's true. It's a good point.
Next up is the CIA, but before then we wanted to say thank you, After Buzzers.
We do. I thought I was just gonna get to say thank you to you, Steph.
Oh well, that's
you.
great. I love compliments.
Thank you, Steph. But also, yeah, before we jump into the next comment, we want to thank you guys. We want to thank you all for tuning in, whether you're listening, watching, and say thank you for making us the ESPN of TV talk. Right now, though, we, of course, can always use your help to make sure we continue to grow, continue to put good stuff out there for you guys. So if you're on YouTube right now, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. If you're on iTunes, go ahead and give 5 stars. 500, 5,000. I think you can probably do any kind of division of 5 on that. I believe works. Math. But no matter where you are, make sure you leave us a comment too. Get involved in the discussion. If there's something you're thinking about the show or want to bring up, make sure you comment to us. Let us know how we're doing as well. But being a part of AfterBuzz TV has, just been such a cool thing, I know, for all of us. I love coming in, getting to do this all the time. So really appreciate your support and letting us continue to do this and just come and talk about TV all day, which is freaking awesome. So thank you guys very much. Hope you keep enjoying, subscribing, watching all of our shows. And like I said, hit us up in the comments.
Oh, yeah, we love the comments. And Amy will spell out her name for you guys this episode so you can reach her.
And right now, if you're in the comments, Jeff is inviting you all to his birthday, so...
Oh.
I don't know when it is. I mean, I know when his birthday is, but I don't know when the party is.
I started by saying, anyone creeping, say hi, and then AfterBuzz TV Comedy said hello. So, but we have Evo too, and Evo, we're very glad to have you. If you have thoughts on what we're saying, please let us know.
Okay, this is where things get real frisky. Abe gets a call. I'm upset about. He gets a call gassing him up, saying he's getting funding for this project he's been working on, and only to get sent into this place, and it starts... Did you guys start to feel like something was off from the beginning?
I'm sorry, I just... real frisky.
Was it not?
It was frisky.
I'm tingling about it, thinking about it.
I'm with you, Steph. I thought it was frisky.
I just wasn't expecting it. I don't know. It just hit me in a way.
You never know what
just hit ya.
adjective is going to come out of my mouth.
Frisky business.
This is the one who said she wasn't funny.
I know. Look at you.
Look at you, LOLing. Did you guys have any idea that the son was going to be involved in this meeting at all?
No.
I didn't. But then I rewatched it and thought maybe I should have
I literally thought for some reason that because he was talking up at that point that the guy was like, just this one, like right now I can't have you do this because we can't hire him. Like I thought that was the way it was going to go. And then I was like, oh, nope, completely wrong.
I would love to see 2 things out of this scene. I want to see how the son, the actor's name?
Well, Noah's the character's name.
Yeah, so, but the actor who plays Noah, the way that he played it originally or the way that he thought of playing it in his head, and also I'd love to see how he was directed in this scene. Because his just, like, stone cold nothing face, like, during a lot of it, and once they get brought into the room, and as you're, like, waiting to see if he's going to react, kind of, he just doesn't. And I thought that was so interesting, and I'd love to see, like, the process that led to that, because I think it made the scene even more interesting, just the fact that he was so kind of, like, stone-faced the whole time.
I also I felt so bad for Abe in this scene, because you could tell that he was just so proud of himself, and, like, showing his son, like, I can't tell you too much, because, it's top secret. Oh, God, like... No, you don't even know the half of it, Abe, and, like, he's talking his son up to everybody. Yeah, it was heartbreaking, especially after Midge. I was like,
that's
oh,
what
God.
I liked about it. Is it like allowed the show to open up sort of Abe's issues? Like I feel like at first we're sort of don't know whether to be Team Midge or Team Abe by how all that plays out, but the show kind of really wants to dive into Abe's control issues and like insecurities about parenting, and this really kind of broadened the Midge-Abe argument by incorporating other factors. And it's Will Brill. It's Noah the actor.
Oh. That's a great point.
Yes. Will Brill.
I do have to point out the funniest use of door buzzers. Like I was like almost annoyed, but it was the perfect amount to set the scene and make it kind of funny. And about the facial expressions, I think that it was a really great choice because this is a person who's a CIA agent that we find out, and you have to be that like nothing comes out of your face.
It's also the last buzzer. You can leave now. We're gonna talk about things.
Yes.
And like just when he doesn't move, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
That was such like a deafening scene for me to watch. It was like when you get that uncomfortableness, like when a joke goes so long that you start feeling uncomfortable by it.
Yeah.
It was that feeling.
Yeah, which I've never seen done with a buzzer quite like that before.
But great example of escalation, because even the joke of like, in fact, you might have the lowest security clearance. The janitors can even see the documents. In fact, they shred them. You're probably worse than the janitors, Abe. It was like it was funnily directed.
It was just like, hey, know how you thought you were the shit? Nope.
Right.
Talking about your diversity, you almost hired a woman. It's like,
hey, for that time period, that was the feminist movement.
but I gotta say, like, can they still give him the funding? Because it seemed like a cool project regardless. I just think it's
His little
such a
robot.
ball-busting call to be like, hey, we got you funding. Just kidding. You're actually lower than our janitorial services.
That was that was the first generation of Siri.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what it was.
And Siri's a Jewish
Rob
name.
Abe.
Maybe Abe did it.
Oh, this is getting deep.
Speaking of cereal, it's a call back to the fifth after show.
It's our theme song for the AfterBuzz, Mrs. Maisel.
It's good.
But at this point, Abe still doesn't know. All he knows is that he doesn't know anything. And he puts Rose on the situation to find out more. And we get another great Astrid scene where she convinced the rabbi to stay and do one of the last prayers of the day. And she's completely out of it. And Rose...
she's been fasting. Let's not skip over that. She hasn't eaten.
Yeah, I know. But she's completely out of it.
I would also be completely out of it.
And who knows what that Chinese paste is doing to her, too.
God.
True.
Oh,
And,
my
like,
God.
This is the one part of the Jewish faith, like the main part that like I could never do. I could not like they have so many holidays they have to fast. Like I can't do that.
a lot of,
I need to
the
eat,
Muslim
or I get
religion
angry.
somewhere.
Yeah.
If I don't eat for like a meal, it's not good. So I
And
can't
Christians
imagine.
are like, Jesus was resurrected, chocolate.
So
Like,
we can eat.
yeah. Good Friday, Jesus died, eat everything. That's why America's
Only
fat.
fish.
Yeah.
Only fish. on
Fish,
Good
you're right.
Friday.
Just
That's
fish.
true.
A lot of fish, though.
There's
Lots
some
of fish.
rules.
Yeah.
But Rose navigated this scene so well to me, like a freaking pro. Just being like, "Oh, was it? Oh, did you say that? So can he not call you from those places?" Like the questions a mother would ask about their son, but also went hand in hand with her information.
My favorite Rose moment is when she says CIA, and you can see in her face the shock, but she doesn't allow her voice to falter. Like she's like, "Oh," like it's
That's
like
a good road.
Yeah. We got some.
We all
We
have
got some
our
actors on this panel, and I don't count myself among them.
it's okay. You'll write the scripts for us.
Sure.
What do you think about this scene, Amy?
Oh my gosh. I was so glad that they kind of brought Rose back into Perry Rose. You know,
Yeah.
like we kind of got to see that again. Like I feel like she had such a strong start to the season. And then there were kind of some scenes sprinkled in here and there. And I thought this was a nice kind of return to her getting to play a different role. But her and Astrid, I think, should have more scenes together too.
I feel like they might moving up because it seems like she's going to be the person that gets the information out, and Astrid's going to be the one that gives it to them.
Yeah.
And Eva in our chat brings up a great point of the changing of the name to Son X. He's no longer Noah.
What a great conversation between Rose and Abe. Their dynamic is so perfect.
It's like those
Son
scenes where you
X.
realize how alike they are.
Yeah.
Because there's times where you're like, how do they even like get along? Do they like each other? And then there's those scenes where like, oh, they are the same person.
Oh gosh, that was such a good call.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out. Because every time he said it, I cracked up. Like I'm gonna start referring to people.
Props to
like that.
Evo. And if you guys are watching or listening to the podcast, you should always be tuned into our YouTubes because you can join the conversation just like Evo has today. Thank you. Yes.
Take a less after you give us 5 stars.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm curious to see what if they'll involve Noah and Astrid more. I would love it because I think they've slowly made it still a Midge central show as it should be and stay that way. But they have such strong supporting roles.
Well, now we know that Noah might not be there at times because he's in the CIA and has to go away for long periods of time where you can't get in contact with him.
So
So
Astrid
it makes
can be
sense.
there.
So Astrid can be there, but it makes sense if Noah is doing that or out filming another show.
Totally.
One or the other.
So we'll have to see. That'll be an interesting dynamic for the parents to come to terms. Right now, Rose is only aware that one of her kids is not who she really thinks she is.
She doesn't seem that upset by it either, though. Like, she seems like a little distraught, but like not anywhere near what
Well, I mean, he's in the CIA and he went to MIT, so he isn't killing people. They did make that assumption, and I think that's accurate to assume. And he's probably doing some like high level research, which is pretty freaking cool and something you would brag about as a parent, as opposed to Midge, who's like showing her boobs on stage when she gets blacked out.
I mean, both very important
Yes.
parts and jobs.
Society
yeah.
needs both.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
You can't have one without the other. They've raised two outstanding kids. They have nothing to be insecure about.
On the opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yes. Well said.
Let's get into the final topic, the cosmos.
The cosmos.
Midge is sitting all sexily alone and slowly approaches Benjamin with a blanket that they end up sharing, which leads to some flirting. Have you guys sold into this a little bit more throughout the episodes with Benjamin?
It's hard to warm up to him, but I like the way that they're playing the two of them with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll say I don't dislike him, and I don't necessarily love him yet. And I have some predictions that I'll save for our segment, but that's all I'll say at that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, the writers could take this anyway, and they've done a good enough job that I've been on board with any potential choice around all of this. So, yeah.
Aesthetically, yes. Emotionally, not sure. But as long as he hasn't been really being judgy about her comedy, I'm with it.
Yeah, that's what I like, is because obviously you want to see her have someone who's going to want to support her in this, because she just had such a terrible experience with her husband just
Right.
being a complete jackass about it.
Yeah.
So, it is nice seeing him be like so on board with it right now. But yeah, it's interesting because I kind of wonder what their intention is going in with this guy, when they started to write him, and like you said, kind of, they can kind of go a lot of different directions with it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on the episode?
I mean, I wanted to touch on the last scene.
The final.
dance. Well, first we get the whole dance number where they do the around the world, and we get to see Susie shaking her tatas.
Her face when she's dancing, she is so not wanting to be there, but she's
awesome.
putting everything into it.
Can
That was
you
one of
make
my
that
favorite
as a
things.
GIF for me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just like love that of all of the staff, like we saw how many there were, and there wasn't all of them on stage, and she happens to be one of them.
I loved it. This was like getting to see Alex Borstein Mad TV. This was like sketch, like broad Alex Borstein. It was really fun.
And we still got the crisscross.
Crisscross behind.
Love.
But just even the scene, like the way that they handled everybody getting up to dance, and the different reasons that everybody kind of paired up, like even Rose being like, we can either dance here or we can dance in Paris.
Yeah.
That was really hitting for me. And just to check back a little bit, the whole Abe and Midge, are you as good as this comic?
Yes.
And her just kind of being like, wait, we're talking about this? Like, I
That-
felt that was
yeah.
like, that was the moment that I felt Abe he's gonna get on board with it. It's like that same thing with Joel. It's like, you're really good. Like, he's gonna get there.
And
Like, he's just, but he's still like a very much like Joel of like, I'm not on board with this yet, but
Yes.
you're really
Yeah.
good.
And she says better, right?
Well, no,
She
that
should've.
was
She says
that,
yes.
that
I thought she was going to.
That
Me
was
too.
my standout moment, though, of this episode. I'm glad she said yes, because it was just like it took so much for her to just say yes.
Yeah.
And I think the way that, because I mean, she is better,
Right.
But I like that she just was able to just think about it for a second and just confidently say yes. Just very simple.
I mean, she is better when she's raw, but she also needs to learn to fine tune herself and bring herself back. So
Yeah.
I think it is fair for her just to say yes and not better, because
Yeah.
also I feel like, she needs to see where she's going with it once her whole family, like, I don't feel like she can be better until she's fully out and everybody knows.
Yeah. When she just said yes, I fist pumped.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. I was just like,
I don't know if we talked about it though. I'm glad you brought up the scene with her and Joel, because that was another great scene that opens the door for me potentially shipping those two later down the road, because this season's done a really good job of keeping the affection between Joel and Midge without pushing the romance of Joel and Midge. But I think a lot of times on television, couples don't feel believable because you only see like the sexual side of their romance. And like you can have a really hot, steamy, sexy romance on a show, but if you don't see the foundations of that friendship and admiration, it doesn't feel real. What's cool about this season, we've stripped away like the hot, sexy parts of Joel and Midge, but we've really focused on the kind of affection between the two of them. And like hearing Joel been like, I wish I could have been there to see your set.
Yeah, like the ice cream scene we didn't touch on. Yeah, that was he is becoming more of like, we're seeing why she fell in love with him. I think
way more likable.
And that final scene was like just such a beautiful shot and such a beautiful like metaphor for them separating now, and like they need to do that, like whether or not they get back together. If they ever were to get back together, I do think they need to like go see other people and figure out who they are.
Yeah, that was a beautiful shot. Just like so classic, just like drifting apart at the end.
And both going to a separate person.
Yeah. And you know what, Joel? You could have been there to see it if you weren't such a dick.
Yeah, I think Joel is like the representation of the younger man at that generation where tides were turning in terms of women having more options for jobs and looking at them in a way where you respect them past motherhood.
Yeah.
You respect their talents, and now he can be a little bit further from it and see like, dang, like she's actually the coolest woman on earth, and I respect her for her talents rather than just a wife.
Yeah.
So I like what they're doing with Joel. And to your point, Brie, I like that you mentioned that she's still fine-tuning, because it's true. Her two best shows that we've seen with the loudest laughs were her in Dismay. When she just found out about Penny, or the Penny, right? The secretary.
Well, yeah, I would say her three best even, because the Penny one, the one with the mustard.
Oh, yeah.
And the hot dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then this one.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And then they have their last dance. So do you guys think there's not going to be as much Joel, or do you think there's just not going to be? They know now that they're completely separated.
I think they know now that they're completely separate. I think we're still going to see Joel.
Good.
I don't think they're going to completely. I think they're going to still tease around with this like jealousy kind of thing of her dating. He hasn't really seen her go with other people yet.
I think we'll end the season on a dramatic Joel Midge moment, whatever that looks like.
So just like the first season?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Amy's like, I know, but I can't tell you.
Let's get into our special segment.
Yes. So I teased it at the top, but we're actually going to be looking at Gilda Radner today, who is one of the OGs, I'd say, of like a real renaissance of female comedy. And she was one of the original SNL cast members. And I actually found a bit of her. She has this kind of variety sketch special where she sings and dances. And this is her singing. So let's take a look.
Good morning with a cock-a-doodle-doo. Good morning. A horse's neigh is just his way of saying, how are you? A lion growls hello, and owls ask why and where and who. May I suggest you get undressed and show them your wazoo? Oh, the animals, let's talk dirty to the animals. Fuck you, Mr. Bunny, eat shit, Mr. Bear. If they don't love it, they can shove it. Frankly, I don't care. Oh, the animals, let's talk dirty to the animals. Up yours, Mr. Hippo, piss off, Mr. Fox. Go tell a chicken, suck my dick and give him chicken pox. Oh.
That's good for now, I think. But
Wow.
Now I'm just picturing someone like randomly walking around a park saying this to animals.
Yes. It's so cool to see the women comedians back then, to think about how big of trailblazers they were.
yeah, Gilda's one of the best, and you know, she is maybe more sketch than stand-up, but she did stand-up too. And I think like this show kind of explored what like blue female comics look like, and I think like it's sort of that same tone of edgy but still kind of like classic and like pleasant. And she's just
When you told me that she was a big inspiration for Rachel Bloom for the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was actually the first person to be cast for Saturday Night Live. So she was the first one that Lorne Michaels hired. And God, she would do a lot of these like one-woman shows and like where it would kind of be almost like a variety hour that she would do. And she was just absolutely phenomenal. Like, I don't know many, myself included, like female comedians who don't cite her as just like such a huge inspiration.
Yeah,
she was such a queen.
She's kind of revered among like the best, I would say, especially in like sketch and stand up. So I kind of think of Midge too, just like almost like a prodigy. Yeah.
Well, highly
good
recommend
choice.
the CNN film, Love Gilda, that's now on CNN that I know was released in some theaters. And also Gilda has a really good autobiography that kind of is very heartbreaking though too, because it's towards the end of her life when she, going through the cancer diagnosis and everything. So I cried at every page turn, basically. But
Cool.
I highly recommend it if you just want to cry
definitely.
for a night.
Love Gilda is out. You can rent it on Amazon Prime, YouTube, Google Play, or Vudu.
Plus, we all know you have Amazon Prime because you're watching Maisel. So
Right? I'm going to rent that.
yeah.
Great choice. Wow. And you just made me really sad about the choice.
You're welcome.
Bree, you have some news and gossip for us?
AfterBuzz TV News.
I need like a monocle. So the SAG Awards are coming up this Sunday on, I believe they're on, I don't know, they're on one of the stations.
You looked at me to help, and I did not.
Ugh. I couldn't remember what station they're on, but they are on this Sunday. And Marvelous Miss Maisel has 5 different nominations. Four. It's nominated for actor in comedy series for Tony Shalhoub, actress in a comedy series for both Rachel Brosnahan and Alex Bornstein, and best ensemble cast in a comedy series. So
Great.
give all the
Very
luck
good.
and warm fuzzies out to them for this Sunday. And
Yes.
we will, next week when we are doing more episodes, we can tell you if they won or not.
The 2019 SAG Awards will air live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on both TBS and TNT this Sunday.
And we'll be on the carpet. Look out for AfterBuzz if you're watching the feed live.
Woo woo!
Yeah.
That's great. I'm so glad that they're getting so many awards. Great.
Especially for season 2, because sometimes you see this at the first season, and then by the second season, the show kind of drops off of the award circuit.
Yeah.
They're staying strong.
So deserving.
That's awesome. Let's get into our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I have no idea. Jeff, I feel like you've seen the entire season.
I haven't.
He
Oh, you
watched
haven't?
No.
He just watched the
Yes,
first.
finally I can ask. I was going to reiterate the question.
She's the only one that's seen the whole season.
Okay, you're last. Jeff.
I don't, at this point, it could go a lot of directions. I feel like we kind of both closed and opened a lot of doors with this episode. I think the Benjamin Joel love triangle will continue to persist. And I think Benjamin and Midge are going to heat up and then cool off very quickly because Benjamin will do something that can't be tolerated. Like he'll do something really annoying or like give Midge a sign that he's not for her.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that Benjamin and Midge will last. They're not endgame.
He's like a celebrity appearance.
Yes.
Yes. I think he's there for a very specific purpose, which is to like show her and get her out there dating.
And get Joel jealous a little
And
bit.
get Joel jealous a little bit, show him that he could lose her.
Yes.
And, maybe he's not gay, but maybe he's bisexual. We don't know.
It's true. Bree's holding on to that one.
Stubborn Bree. If Benjamin has to go, I would like a steamy scene
Ooh.
between Benjamin and Midge because she needs some love, I think.
She does.
But I really hope that we get into back into like the comedy club scene.
Sorry, not cutting you
No,
off.
go.
They've touched on it a couple times this season, but I would love to kind of meet Susie's family because they've touched on her family a bit. They've
That'd be
talked
very
about them, so I
interesting.
would like to kind of see her roots.
Well, I can't give my prediction, so I'll do what I think we're all gonna do on the next show.
Okay, so each one individually.
So Jeff, you're gonna give us all your wife's lentil soup recipe.
Oh, hell yeah.
A little cooking segment. Bree is going to do the entire ending scene from Dirty Dancing, the dance, both parts, man and woman, just do it back to back.
The lift is crazy.
Yeah,
On the table?
It's wild. Yeah, off the table, the lift. It's tune in, guys.
Great.
And then Steph is going to follow up our after show with an entire hour just about Pamela the Plunger and all of Benjamin's cereal choices.
Yes. I would love nothing more than that.
Tune in for that, guys.
Awesome, you guys. Well, I can't wait to watch the next episode. I've been holding off as well. I know it's really hard for viewers of this show because you want to binge through it.
I know.
But at least the episodes are long. I'm glad it's not like a 30-minute show.
Yes.
And I think hopefully we're going to see if schedules align, but we can maybe knock out the last 4 episodes next week for you guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Until then, where can we find you, Jeff Graham?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham, and I want to quickly shout out Layra, who joined the chat. Thank you for tuning in, Layra. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned on our comedy channel to see when.
And you guys can find me at Bri_Phipps, PHIPPS, on Twitter and Instagram, where you can see me going through all kinds of random thought processes.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Amy Maestri. I guess I'll spell it for you guys this time. It's AMYMAESTRI. And you can also catch me and Steph doing the SNL After Show, who actually last week we got to talk about Rachel Brosnahan hosting. So you can check that out on YouTube or iTunes too. And then this week we'll have a new episode as well on Sunday night.
On our comedy page where we are right now. I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Steph Sabraw. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.